her story is the way less interesting part of what's really happening. I just saw the new Amazon movie called I'm Your Woman, and I have some thoughts. I'm Your Woman stars Rachel Brosnahan as a woman who's forced to go on the run with her baby after her husband betrays his partners in crime. I'm Your Woman's in a pretty interesting spot. Don't get me wrong. The cast is great, and the cinematography is also really good. I think a lot of the shots look very nice. You know, it all looks professionally done. It looks like a real Hollywood movie. This is a interestingly told story, mostly because of the perspective they choose to tell. So about 10 minutes into the movie, this woman, Jean, her husband goes missing, disappears, middle of the night, friend of his comes by, says they have to go. Just pack whatever you can and get out. Gives her a bunch of cash and they leave. And from that point on, we follow her perspective as she's just essentially on the run, no idea where her husband is. Random men are coming to kill her or get her to find her husband's location. He must owe somebody some sort of money or screwed some people over. I don't know how many of you are interested in slow burn movies, but this is definitely in that category. So, there are a couple of filmmaking rules, I suppose you could call them. You essentially always want your audience, for the most part, to know more than the main character, or at least the majority of the characters in the film. It's okay if she doesn't know what's happening, but it's not great if we also have no idea what's happening or why. And that's kind of where I think this movie struggles. But I think this movie makes an interesting creative decision. For the majority of it, most of the action, most of the important parts of the movie happen off screen. A lot of big plot points are just being told to us that they happened, and we never see that part of it. Typically, if this character existed in a different genre, right, we're seeing the damsel in distress part of the story. And typically we only see the John Wick style crazy action stuff happening, and we occasionally check in with the other person whose plot is way, way less exciting. But this movie shows us that plot. If a guy goes missing and he's betrayed a bunch of his allies, we're usually following where the hell he is and what he's doing. And in this film, we're typically just told this and this happened, here's why he did this, here's where he may be. We never really find out what's going on in his part of the story. It sort of feels like we got the crime drama part of the film, and the action drama part of the film is just out of reach. Whether or not I agree with it doesn't mean it was a bad decision, but I think a film like this is missing a little bit of giving us just a tad more, because for the majority of the time we're watching it, we're not getting a whole lot. We're about as confused going through this film as the protagonist, which isn't a great feeling. And as you watch this film, I think after a certain point, because it is 2 hours and a lot of that moves really slowly, you're going to start to want to know why things are happening, and you may not get those answers as quickly as you're hoping to. This kind of brings me to the title of the film. It sort of feels like the title is a play on the idea that most of the time the woman is just sort of, you know, there, just kind of part of it. But in this version of the story, she's not just part of it, she is the story. Everything that's happening is happening around her, and she's wondering why. We're seeing a sidekick transform into a protagonist as they have to figure out how to navigate this strange, dark world that they're suddenly thrust into. It's certainly an interesting perspective to be put in for this film. I don't really know if it worked for me, but I could understand why people feel it's refreshing, because it is certainly a unique take. I just think that the film was a little bit too slow burn, and I personally had a lot of questions that didn't really get answered throughout the film. In certain examples, those answers didn't quite make as much sense as I hoped they would. I think this is worth a watch. I personally like slow burn stuff, but even for me, this was a little too slow. I think if you don't mind that style, then you'll probably enjoy just the pacing of the film, but I think there's a very good chance that you'll be a little confused about why certain things are happening, and I don't know if I can tell you that you'll be satisfied with those answers. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. I am very close to 50 subscribers, which is crazy to me. I know it sounds like a small number, but to me it sounds insane that anyone even cares enough. Appreciate everybody who watches these videos. Hit that subscribe button. Give the video a thumbs up if you don't mind and you enjoyed it. And I'm out.